Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I am your host, River Lee, founder of the Savvy Groomer. I teach you to go from being burnt out, broken to healthy, wealthy, and happy, building a grooming business on your terms. So let's go ahead and hop right into today's topic. Whoop. 1 second. It's just being a little spicy. Today's topic is 4 weeks the best grooming schedule? Hey, Shelly. Hey, Erin. Great to see you here live. So let's go ahead and talk about this, okay? So a lot of you guys have asked me, is 4 weeks really the best grooming schedule? Now, I'm not going to talk necessarily about skin and coat and things like that. I'm going to talk about the emotional well-being of both the groomer and the pet. So for many, many reasons, I will say 4 weeks. I try really hard not to say 4 to 6 weeks, because when I say 4 to 6 weeks, we're talking about a 50% increase. That would be giving someone a quote of $100 to $150, right? Or a quote of $50 to $100. That's a big time difference, right? 4 weeks versus 6, a 50% increase. So what can happen in this 4 weeks that could need a pet to be groomed? Well, our hair cycle is a little bit less than 4 weeks. It's technically, I believe, about 21 or 28 days. So if you have a double-coated dog, or if you have a dog that is a shedding breed, I mean, everyone sheds. I shed so freaking much. I literally did an undercut and I have 3/4 of my hair gone and I have clumps of hair. I just shed, right? So the hair cycle is every month, and it's important that we are taking care of that, right? If pets are gaining 1 to 5 hairs per follicle, it can hold, I believe it's up to 20 or 25 hairs per follicle, potentially depending upon the breed. We need to get those hairs out. It's a lot gentler on the skin and coat. And again, I don't pretend to be an expert on skin and coat. There are so many better resources for that. But it's a lot gentler to get the hair out by washing and blow drying than it is to brush all of that hair out, right? So by doing that, we are helping them naturally shed. We are allowing the skin to breathe by having all of that hair taken out. We're also allowing the skin to, depending upon what's going on with the oils, the sebaceous glands, as a pet professional, again, there are so many different views on skin and coat, and there's so many more advancements going on. But for me, it's about hygiene, right? It's about keeping the pet clean and making sure they smell nice. They're in our homes, they're in our beds, they go everywhere with us. The least we can do is keep them clean. And this is for both dogs and cats. So let's start there, right? So we want them to stay clean. We want them to be healthy. The flea cycle is about a month, a little bit more, a little bit less, depending upon who you talk to. So if you have a pet that is cleaned once a month and checked over by a professional once a month, that allows you to make sure that hopefully you catch a flea cycle before it's erupted into a 2 or 3 cycle, right? Good, bad, or indifferent, it is so much easier to kill fleas if it has been 1 or less than 1 life cycle versus 2. And for 4 weeks, hopefully we've caught it by the first, but we barely have caught it by 2, right? And that's very important. I don't personally do flea pets, but if I do notice fleas on a pet, I can tell the mom or dad, hey, this is a way to call your vet. Call them and find out what to do. Again, I believe for fleas and ticks, we are not veterinarians, and I think that suggesting medication. Now, I love Capstar. I love topical products. I don't personally use them on my own pets. I'm a little granola crunchy for that. It is what it is. But I think it's really important that we do talk about those things at the same time. It is a medication. We are telling them to put toxins and pesticides on their pets. And I think that coming from the dog show world, it's really important to consider that they are pesticides. That's why they work. And so I used to always think it was fascinating that coming from more of the dog show side, and again, a lot of breeds are very different. When I used to breed and show my labs, we never used things like topicals or flea collars because they were known to produce birth defects and other harmful things. So we just didn't use them. And because of that, we did a more natural approach. And natural isn't always better. It's not always more effective. But it was really easy to do that because my pets were always washed regularly. And that's just it. So beyond skin and coat health, right? What is another reason that a 4-week schedule is optimal? From a groomer standpoint, it is significantly easier to have the same set of dogs or cats every single month than it is to juggle multiple schedules. If you have pets on a 4, 6, and 8-week schedule, that becomes a real problem for scheduling. So let's say you have a client that wants Monday, the first Monday of the month, okay? Well, at that same Monday, there's also probably going to be a rotation of an every 6-week Monday appointment and an every 8-week. Now, who gets that appointment? Hopefully, the person that is more loyal at the 4-week appointment should get that. But now you have to fit 3 people potentially into that one spot. And that becomes a problem, right? And let's be honest, you're probably not charging more for the 6 or 8-week spot. So you're creating more stress, more confusion, more work for yourself for someone who's not actually paying you more and comes in significantly less per year. What I always think is really interesting, and let me see if I can pull up my calculator. I want to make sure that you guys can actually see it. I always get so annoyed with the little, let me see if I can move it over here. 1 second. I have a display capture. Woo! Gets a little wonky. I can't do that. Hang on 1 second. It's funny. Put that right there with the chat so you can see it. There we go. Ooh, calculator, where are you? There we go. Perfect. Okay, so if I have a dog that is groomed, so let's take 52, and we're going to divide it by 8 weeks, okay? That means that pet is groomed 6.5 times a year. A pet who is groomed every 6 weeks is groomed about 8, maybe 9 times, right? So let's say 9 minus 6.5. So your 6-week grooms come in 2.5 more times a year. But if I do 52 divided by 4, if I have that pet come in every 4 weeks, now I always interchangeably say 4 weeks in a calendar month. I actually prefer every calendar month because that gives me an opportunity to take time off of work. But if they were coming in every 4 weeks, that is 13 times a year. I mean, it goes without showing you it's more than double the 8-week groomer. I'm sorry, the 8-week client. And I'm always confused at why we want people to come in less. To me, it makes so much more sense to have people come in and be a part of this, right? We want people to come in more often, right? The pets are better. Again, I don't love the adage that every 7 dog years is 1 human year, right? Then that means that every 6 months is about mentally, emotionally 1 human year. So when we're getting them to come in every 4 weeks, it's like going to the dentist every 6 months. Now, I am not the best at doing these things, going every 6 months to the dentist, but going to the dentist every 6 months, right, mentally, is a lot easier than going every 2 to 3 years. And that's where we see our 12 to 16 weeks. And ultimately, waiting for a pet to look like they need a groom means that they're past the point of needing to be groomed, right? Imagine if you only took a shower or only washed your hair when you obviously needed to wash your hair. Now, again, I don't wash my hair every day, But I also don't wait till my hair is a disgusting grease ball, right? Why? Because it's unhygienic, and ultimately it takes a lot more scrubbing and product and care, which is going to damage my hair. And again, I'm not going to talk on the grooming fundamentals. I'm just going to talk about the behavior and the money, because that's where I really come in, right? So again, it's going to be better for the pet emotionally. If you've ever worked at a shop where most of the pets were on a 4-week or less schedule, you know this. I mean, when I ran my membership grooming salon, pets that came in every week loved coming. They knew the routine. They felt really comfortable. They could be handled by anyone in the shop because they've had an opportunity to see everyone. And even the pets that came every month, they knew the routine. They knew what to do. They felt really safe, comfortable, and happy. The clients who wanted to wait till their pet needed to be groomed, they generally couldn't always have the same staff. Now, my salon, we always made it a point to have everyone touch a dog and really get to know the dog, because good, bad, or indifferent, staff will leave, staff get hurt, staff move on. You can't always have the same exact person grooming the same exact dog. It doesn't always work that way. And in fact, I think it's actually detrimental for both the pet's mental health and the shop's health to do that. If that groomer is injured, especially with COVID, we know this, right? People can get sick and have to not go to work for 2 weeks. And that's a lot of dogs to reschedule. That's 25 to 40 dogs a week to reschedule, depending upon how much your groomer grooms. Think about that. They have to move, 50 to 80 dogs, and where are they going to go? Either people are going to get pushed out, which they really can't do. It's a lot easier to ask the rest of the team to take on 1 or 2 extra dogs for the day instead of completely having to reschedule an entire schedule's worth of dogs. That said, again, the employee is going to really enjoy having a dog that's groomed every 4 weeks, right? And as an owner, I really enjoyed it. But as an employee, it's even better. If you're thinking about where you want to work, everyone always assumes that it has to be because they have the most amount of money. But if I am grooming, right, and I get to pick whatever shop I want, because it really is a groomer's market versus a shop owner's market, right? I would much rather go to the place that has a steady clientele, that doesn't change all that much, good, loyal customers that tip well, that appreciate me, that come every month, have a very set haircut. I know that's Fluffy, and he gets a 1/2 inch on the body, round teddy bear face. He always gets this package, It's just very comforting. Now, for the artist groomers, right, because I'm talking about the technicians, like the same thing every time. We like that comfort, that security, make it easy, right? And then for your artist groomers, a pet that comes in every 4 weeks is more likely to be maintained. They're more likely to be mat-free. They're more likely to have a owner who is willing to do either the work in between, or if not, willing to pay to have the pet done in between, right? And that's where we see a lot of every 2-week bath and then a 2-week haircut. But that opens up a lot of possibilities for you to groom the pet in maybe a more fashionable way, or to try something different. Because even if they don't like it, they are able to go back in another 4 weeks and just get it fixed. It's not a big deal. There's a big difference between somebody who only gets their hair done once in a blue moon and someone who gets it done all the time. A great example is I just got my nails done and I wanted to try something different, and I wasn't really sure if I would like it or not. And even now, I'm not really sure if I like it. So my nail tech asked me if I wanted to do this. So this is 4 different colors. So I have a yellow, a light green, a yellow, blue, and then kind of a periwinkle blue. So I don't know if I love it, but I was more open to trying it because I go every 2 to 3 weeks. So even if I didn't like it, I wasn't that worried about it. I was like, well, if I don't like it, then I'll just change it in 2 weeks. It's a lot easier to express creativity. That nail tech was more than capable of expressing her creativity through me because I'm more willing to take a chance, because if I don't like it, I'm going to be back in a few weeks anyway. Versus someone like my mom gets them done probably every 6 to 12 weeks, once in a blue moon, right? And when I say 6 weeks, it's because she generally gets the gel and then she can't get the gel off. And so instead of having to pay them to get the gel off, she will just get the whole thing done again. So, but for the most part, she doesn't get her nails done that often. So she wants exactly what she wants. She wants it perfect. She is more nitpicky than I am, which is really funny because she knows it has to last. She wants that sucker to stay on until it has grown out enough that it almost looks like French tips. So it's interesting too, right? Because sometimes these 6 or 8 weekers are actually more fussy than our 2 or 4 weekers. So, sorry, I'm losing my voice. Pardon me. But yeah, so I think ultimately it is our best schedule. I think it's best for the emotional health of the dog. I think it gives us the best opportunity to let the dog or cat be used to all of the staff in your business. It allows us to express artistic expression, right? Because you're more likely to be able to say to the client, hey, let me try this thing. And if you don't like it, I'll fix it next month. No problem, right? Or, hey, let's try to leave a little length on the legs. I'd really like to see that. And if you don't like it next month, I'll just chop it all off. It gives you that opportunity. You've built this better relationship with a client. And I will also say one of the last points is that if you have a client that feels like, how do I say this without being a jerk? If you say to a client 4 weeks or less and they choose to do 6 or 8, that is a client that does not respect you as a professional. Because if you ask a client why 6 or 8 weeks versus 4, they're going to say he doesn't look like he needs a haircut. But you and I can both see at about 5 or 6 weeks that all those lines are gone, right? So as I'm grooming a pet, especially things like a line cut or a breed cut, I know that at about 5 to 6 weeks, those lines start moving. The placement doesn't work as well. It's basically I have to reset lines. I have to redo a lot of things. Versus every 4 weeks, it's more of just a maintenance groom. And to me, that's where our industry should be going. Our industry should be moving towards maintenance grooms instead of recreating an entire haircut every single time they come in. I really don't think that it makes any sense considering how hard it is to train staff and get staff that we should be wasting our time on pets that either require more time, care, and attention, or owners that are less willing to see us as professionals and be willing to do what we suggest, right? It would be like a dentist suggesting braces, and we say, no, I'm going to wait till my teeth are crooked. Right? You wouldn't want to be that dentist. And then when the person did come in with crooked teeth, you would charge significantly more. However, most groomers just don't. And again, I want to change that industry. If you made a groom $100 for 4 weeks, $150 for 6, and $200 for 8, everyone would do 4 weeks. But because it's $100 for 4, $100 for 6, and $100 for 8, we are unintentionally talking them out of getting the pet groomed every 4 weeks. Hey, 80, great to see you're live. So that's what I want to leave you guys with. I honestly believe for the pet's emotional health, for the groomer's health, for the business's health, and even for the owner. I think as an owner, it's so much better to have, I consider groomers the eyes and ears for the veterinary community. No, we can't diagnose things. But if I see a pet every single month, it's really easy for me to see a change in their coat, in their temperament. And sometimes it's just you don't know what's wrong, but you know this pet and you're like, you know what? Something's not right. And I think that for the low cost and the added benefit of having a hygienic pet grooming every month is just a good investment. All of my pets have always gotten groomed. I shouldn't say always. I shouldn't say that. Since I became a pet professional, they've always gotten done every month. And at no point had any pet professional before I came into this industry told me my pet needed to be groomed every month, right? I mean, we always say 4 to 8 weeks. And again, that's like saying $100 to $200 or a year to 2 years. It's a long time, guys. It's a long time. So consider what you're saying, considering why you're saying 4 to 6 instead of 4. And if they say 6, you have the opportunity of saying, nope, no problem. It's going to be more money. It's going to be 50% more. Because if we made 6 weeks 50% more, they would go on a 4-week schedule. That means you have less clients to deal with. I know the birds are so pretty, but man, I wish they would just be quiet. So really quickly, if we had, let's say I want to groom 5 dogs a day, 5 days a week. It's 25 clients a week times 4 weeks. So I could have 100 clients, right? Well, if I have 8-week clients, right? Well, guess what? That means that I have 200 people to make happy. I have to juggle 200 people into my schedule and figure out what time is a good time for them and getting their pet on schedule and blah, 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 blah. Personally, I would rather have the 100 regular clients. I'd rather have less clients to make happy so I can focus more on making them happy. I'd rather make sure that they are excited to be with me, that they are happy to be in my business, that I am supporting them and their pet in the best way versus 200 people, right, at 8 weeks, which means that the pets are only getting groomed about 6 times a year. They're going to have less managed coats, so they're going to need more work, which means more stress on my body. Their owner is going to be a little less willing to do what I say, because if I had suggested 4 and they decided 8, that's a red flag. And it's also going to be more difficult for me to make that client happy, because if that pet comes in 6 times instead of 12 times, I'm going to have to do a lot more cleanup, right? Because the lines that I've set are gone. It's going to require more thinning shares. It's going to require more maintenance. So personally, I personally would much rather have the 4-week. But you can do whatever you want. It's your business, and you need to do whatever you see fit. And I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to guide you and to suggest things. And then you've got to make your own decisions. Well, guys, I really appreciate this conversation. That was all about, is 4 weeks the best grooming schedule? And I personally think it is. I think this is the best thing you do for everyone. So I really appreciate your time. I'm actually going to get ready to do the last price increase masterclass of 2022. Self-study will be available. However, we will not be doing another live price increase masterclass till 2023. All right, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week here. And as always, happy grooming, guys.